Okay, we are all trying to learn something, right? Well, one thing that I have learned is that The Raven is a difficult poem to do online. This is much, much easier if we're doing this in the classroom face to face. But we don't have that luxury. So we're going to change things up a little bit. And what I'm going to do in these videos today is go through stanza by stanza and explain the poem. A lot of you struggled with this yesterday and Tuesday. If you struggled with that assignment, follow along as I go through this. Pause the video if you need to. Make sure you're understanding what's happening stanza by stanza. This will help you with today's assignment, which is to answer the comprehension questions. I promise you, if you pay attention to this video, if you go box by box as I explain it, you're going to have a much better understanding. So let's recap what I did for you, the first 6 stanzas. We have a speaker who has lost his love. He's sitting alone at night in his chamber, trying to pass the time until morning by reading. He wants to get his mind off of Lenore, his lost love. He's finally falling asleep when he hears a knocking on his chamber door. It startles him. He was just about to fall asleep. The line is, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. So again, it's that alliteration and that repetition that we hear all throughout this poem. So he's startled by the knocking. He's startled because his curtains are starting to move as well. So finally he gets up to answer the door. He opens the door and stares into nothing but darkness. Now remember, he is so depressed, he's so saddened by losing his love, and it's late at night. He was just about to fall asleep. His mind is probably not completely sharp right now. He's starting to wonder, could that be my lost love, Lenore, knocking at my door? And that's when he uses the line, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. And he whispers her name, Lenore, into the darkness. And all he hears is the soft echo back, Lenore. He shuts the door and he hears a knocking now at his window. So now we're on to stanza 7, where you guys are supposed to be answering this stuff on your own. In stanza 7, he opens the shutters to his window, and in flies a bird, a raven, that perches itself on a statue right above his chamber door. Moving on to stanza 8, he smiles at the bird, and he asks the bird its name. Tell me what thy lordly name is. Quoth the raven, nevermore. So now we start the repetition at the end of each stanza. From stanza 8 all the way to stanza 18, he repeats the line, nevermore, ending each stanza with that same line. So he asks the bird its name, nevermore, he says. Stanza 9, he says, for we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast, upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door with such a name as Nevermore. Guys, all he's saying here is no one is named Nevermore. He asked the raven its name. The bird said Nevermore. In stanza 9, he's saying no one, whether it's a bird or a person or a beast, is named Nevermore. Stanza 10 ends with, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said Nevermore. So what's he saying here? He's saying the bird will leave him, just as his hopes have. What's he referring to? What hopes have left him? Right, he's referring to his love, Lenore, who left him when she died. Stanza 11. He's just saying to himself here that the bird is nonsense. Everything the bird is saying is nonsense. Nothing he's saying matters. All he's saying is the same thing over and over again. Nevermore. Stanza 12, he's now starting to wonder, what does he mean by nevermore? In stanza 13, he's thinking about this, and he lays his head back on his curtains, his cushions, his purple cushions. And he's thinking about Lenore again. He's so depressed, so saddened. Everything around him makes him think of Lenore. He lays his head back on the cushion, and he realizes she will never lay her head on those cushions. She shall press, nevermore. Okay, that's the end of this video. We're going to finish up with the next video. Make sure you come back and watch them both.